Hi guys, it's me, TONIK TZW, and I don't sound massively happy about this video because as much as I set a new personal best for damage, and it is actually in excess of 200,000 rotten potatoes, um, I wasn't overly impressed with my gameplay watching this video back. I had some good bits, I had some bad bits, and in the end, I just put the noose around my own neck and threw myself to the mercy of the guns of Red Team. But there wasn't really a lot that I could do about it. Spawning on B cap with a Velos. There's a Gdansk in the game. There's a Z44 and another Velos on Charlie Cap, and he's going to make short work of our destroyer across there on Charlie Cap. Shorter work than you'd ever hope for a destroyer in the game. I do have my own Spud runs. I had one today where I was in. I can't remember what I was in now, but I slowed down for a turn and shouldn't have. Had I carried on at high speed into the turn, I would have made it. Instead, I caught a couple of torpedoes and went out of the game. And I did finish bottom in that one, and I'm not ashamed to say so. I made a mistake. I did something that I wouldn't normally do. And this game is the same, because one of the things that I say is not really worth doing is contesting a cap if you're doing nothing else. Now, the only saving grace here is that I am trying to get things spotted, and even though I'm contested on the cap, I'm going to do what I can to try and move around a position and draw Red Team's destroyer out to me. I'm not located, so they're not running twist and track, but there's a radar. There is only one ship in the game with radar, and it is the Gdansk. And he's on this cap, and I'm immediately looking round to see who's going to be shooting at me. But there we go. He obviously didn't run his smoke at the same time, but the Yamato gets a shot across the top at us. Look at the dispersion of the team. We've got a cruiser going a long way round the outside of Charlie Cap. We've got battleships clustered up behind Alpha Cap, and probably one of them is able to get supporting shots on for that destroyer. And the other guys across there on C Cap are way, way back. They are no help to that DD out there. He gets hit by the Velos, and I'm guessing he popped his smoke or just didn't move. You know, I'd hate to think what happened, but he goes out by guns to the Velos. Now, if you look at where he died there across on Charlie Cap, I don't think either of those battleships had line of sight. And I'm still playing on this cap. I just don't want to give Red Team the early advantage. I don't want to give it up. We know that Dansk has already burned one radar, and I'm just thinking, okay, we know we're spotting things, but we haven't got any support here. Everybody's out on the flanks, you know, a million miles away from anything. And our other destroyer there, we've got a Gdansk. He's going to push all the way around the outside of the map. So I'm just going to start slinging torpedoes. Now, if you look, I've got a target here out to the right of me, but then it switches to the left. I fire my guns, thinking it's the Yamato, but it isn't. Red Team's Dansk. Now, I'm expecting torpedoes, I'm expecting radar, I'm expecting guns, and I'm going to do everything I can here to put some fire onto this guy. There's his radar. So now I'm going to start moving. We are well in range of it. But while I'm moving out and detected by radar, I may as well put some shots out towards that Yamato as well. And we're going to come off this cap. This is looking like, honestly, a lost game from the start. The cruiser that went round the outside has disappeared. There's two battleships now there pushing Charlie Cap. They've got the Velos, and I think it's a Colbert out there who's going to do one thing and one thing only, and that is burn them to the ground. I decide that I'm not going to take on the Dansk single-handed, so I'm going to do what I can for the team here. And I was just thinking, you know, some of these guys are sat at the back of the map. I may as well just pull back as well, because there's not really a lot I can do. Get some shots at the defense there, because we're going to disappear behind the island. We're no longer spotted. Red team are clustered in the back center of the map. We take some shots across the top. One of the Yamatos, or the Lauria, put shots at me, because literally they've got nothing else to shoot at. I am the only target in range for them to shoot at, by the looks of it, because our battleships are way at the back of the map. And it's pointless playing games like this. And I'm thinking, I'm on 12,000 damage. I haven't got a cap, which is my job. I'm not currently spotting anything apart from the battleships out there. I can't really do a lot. If I push back into this cap and the Danskas here, chances are, if I get spotted, I'm going to get absolutely blattered. For those of you that don't know what blattered means, if you can imagine taking a shotgun and firing it point blank at a target, that is blattered. We're going to put torpedoes out there towards that Lauria, thinking he's going to back up, but he's going to change his mind a little bit and he's going to start going forwards. We're going to put a couple of salvos out there. We are on the cap. We're still contested, so there's very obviously a destroyer out here. The two battleships on the far flank, they're literally, like I said, getting burned down from that cruiser at the back, and he is going to survive a very long while into the game. Saving grace with a Velos. I mean, you saw me get a solo warrior. That again was pulling something back from the brink. And had I had more time in this game, could I have done something about it? Possibly. But it is going to go the full length. And at the end of it, I'm just going to die in pure desperation. So that's a bit of a spoiler alert for the end. But we are still 194,000 damage away from where we're going to end the game. So stick with me for this one. Our other destroyer has pushed all the way round the outside of the map, and he's getting pushed now by that Lauria. He's in a very bad spot against the wire. It would have been really useful had he come back across A cap to Bravo cap and help me push the other Dansk and get him off the map, and then we could have pushed through onto Charlie while Red Team were all sailing round at the back of the map. Yamato there, he took some tops. He's just taken a really big hit. We can't get on the Minnesota. We get a kill assist there. We're up to 69,000 damage because of the torpedoes on that Yami. We're going to fire at the Lauria, but our Dansk is going to... Do I say Dansk or Gdansk? Dansk. We say Dansk, shall we? He's going to fire torpedoes at the Lauria, which is going to force him into a turn. And so I decide that I can potentially help him by trying to get a fire on, force a damage control, but that guy's got a lot of hit points. We're going to do what we can. So you see he's turned in towards us, and that's going to slow him down enough that our first set of torpedoes, I think these ones go past him. I think they do. Yes, they're going to go past him. There we go. So his turn slowed him down enough to avoid those. Now, whether or not he just was uncertain about how long I've got for my torpedo reload as the next batch go out, it's actually about a minute, he's going to stay sailing in a straight line, which is going to be his undoing. Minnesota coming in from the rear, that's what she said, misses. So we're going to blind fire and we can't see anything. So, being a good destroyer, we're going to come out of our smoke screen and we're going to spot for the team. The Dansk decides to let everybody know where he is by firing his guns, when potentially he could have remained undetected. But this is what greed does for you, because our torpedoes are going to connect and they're going to take that guy out of the game. We've gone from 12,000 to 110,000. And now we need to get onto this Minnesota. Our Dansk is still firing at him, and he is going to get absolutely blattered as well because he's got the Z44 onto him there. I'm going to put some shots out there. I'm going to put some shots onto the Minnesota. We've got torpedoes running through that gap, and we might get lucky, we might not, I don't know, but the Z44's at a very, very long range, and I'm thinking this Dansk should be able to take care of him if it wasn't for this Minnesota coming around the corner as we lose our Schlieffen. Didn't even realize we had a Schlieffen in the game until he sunk in front of me. As we get 2 torpedo hits on the Minnesota, and the Dansk lights up his radar, goes up against the Z44, and he is going to kill him, but unfortunately I think it's the Minnesota is going to absolutely clobber him here. Somebody's going to clobber him. It's not me, because he's on the same team as me. Our Minotaur there on the corner, he goes out. That's unfortunate. He played around quite a bit of the map there, trying to get fire onto targets, but I don't think he was massively effective. Trying to distract the Minnesota here. I am last man in the game, and we pick up a high caliber and another kill, and we're on to 168,774 damage with 2 ships remaining in the game. We are down on caps, we are down on points. The only way for me to win this game is to kill both the ships that remain, one of which is a Dansk, and I think the other one is a legendary tier Conqueror, who is still at around 75% health. Now, the guy that's going to come up on the mic in a moment, you'll see him pop up, is because as soon as it said, "You're our last hope," and I was like, oh, effing hell, not again. Why is it always like this? Why do we get people that die in the opening minutes of the match, which does happen to me on occasion, hands up, I'll admit it. And he was in the destroyer on Charlie Cap that went out to the Velos in 2.5 minutes, I think it was, which kind of left us with nothing to compete on that cap. The clock is against me. Had that guy not had so much health, I might have been able to do something a little more about this game. I potentially could have repositioned here and gotten another set of torpedoes on, but I was thinking, is he coming out? Is he coming forwards? Let's do a widespread. What's happening here? But he knows that he is safe with that island screen beside him. He knows he has a destroyer pushing, and he knows that they have got this game in the bag unless I kill both ships, which isn't going to happen. Because whereas I thought he was coming out of those islands, he was actually running face first into it to give himself some more protection. I'm on 197,000 damage, and I did say that I'm not coming out of this game with less than 200k, so I am going to do what I can, and even though that guy was sat right there, I just can't get any blind fire on him at all. So Red Team's destroyer is on to a cap, so potentially he's going to come out behind me. Potentially he could have a radar available, but we aren't going to win this one. There is no way. We're not going to finish the game with less than 200k. We'll put some torps back behind us in the hope that we might bag ourselves a destroyer and get lucky. But there is the Conqueror. He's obviously had more than enough time to load high explosive, and yeah, I've got high explosive too, and I'm thinking if we can get a fire on him, we can take over that 330 points we need. There we go, there's the 200k. Full salvo, doesn't kill us, does get a fire, so we know we've got around 28 seconds, depending on what his build is, to try and just farm him for as much damage as we can, because we know we aren't going to survive the next salvo. because the destroyer is also behind us and he is potentially going to start shooting too. But here we go. Spray and pray. Boom. Out of the game. 207,500 damage, high caliber, 2 kills, 1 assist, some floods, some fires, a complete and total defeat. You can hear it in my voice. And it's equally disappointing when you see that we have a ship that did absolutely nothing in the game, and it's a legendary tier battleship. And had we actually won that one, I would have had over 3,000 base XP. So a double disappointment and a lot of frustration in that one. But I do share my Spud runs and I do point out what I did wrong and occasionally what I did right as well. So smash the like button if you feel sorry for me. Subscribe if you feel doubly sorry. And as always, until next time, take care of yourselves and goodbye.